Everyone knows that the hook of a social media video is the most important part, but how does that apply to your website? Well, we've built, studied, and launched hundreds of websites, and the highest converting ones follow one of these 6 simple frameworks. We call these website hooks, and they are the most effective at generating ROI-driven websites. So I've given each of these 6 hooks names, identified why they work, and together in this video, you and I are going to break them down. If you guys are new to this channel, my name is Andy Milligan, founder of MMG Design in Columbus, Ohio. We specialize in B2B web design and content strategy. Without further ado, let's dive on into hook number 1. Hook number 1 is called the challenger. This website hook goes against the grain. It challenges a common approach and it sets you apart as a solution to the viewer's problem. Now, this one has the potential to be the most powerful on this list, but it's also done wrong so often as well. It tends to be effective on sites and industries that have a very clear persona. It can be amplified really well through assets and clean, differentiated design. And the goal is to create a style that resonates and stand out. You want to be differentiated, but not abrasively so. A really good first mover on this example is Notion. Most SaaS products are super clean, like a hospital, utilize 1 to 2 strong colors, and have very overly simple, almost boring layout. Notion challenged this belief by using cartoons and only 2 simple colors, black and white. Now, over time, they've created a brand with their cartoony elements and simple black and white colors, and it's even worked its way into their own product. Having such a clean, differentiated design and brand that started from their website translates super well into marketing their own product, which is also UI and tech enabled as well. And again, the reason this works is because bold and differentiation creates contrast, and you only have a few seconds to earn visual interest with your viewers. Sometimes being direct can be one of the best hooks of all. The next hook that converts very well is called the visionary. This hook shows the buyer the future outcome that they want, and it positions you as the guide to getting them there. Let me explain. You want to identify pain. This is the purpose and crux of all homepages. You do not want to talk about yourself, and it's the mistake that we see so often on B2B sites. So many times companies lean onto talking about themselves. In reality, all the viewer cares about is how what you do applies to them. And it's such a hard mindset to get some of our clients out of sometimes. You want to identify their problems in the first 5 seconds of them landing on your homepage. You want to create desire and intrigue, and that's what's going to earn you a scroll or a conversion. A few really good examples of this. For a financial consulting firm, no more guessing on your cash flow, get clarity in 7 days. Here you're positioning the problem that the viewer can identify with and the solution right below, and in the subheadline you can expand and identify on this. We call this the visionary because you're meeting the viewer where they're at and you're showing them the potential future outcome of what their problem looks like solved. Your job is to show them that future and how you can get them there. The next hook we're going to talk about is called the tester. This hook shows a real world trial, result, or case study that you've achieved for someone just like this person. Think of it as bringing your receipts to the party. And this is what we're seeing with this hook. Data performs very well when you use the tester hook framework. It leans on the numbers to do the talking, but it's not just the data that makes it effective. What we're seeing is that there's always some kind of differentiator, some kind of branded element that when you apply data to it, whether it's an interactive animation or some kind of graphic that illustrates the data very well, that's like pouring gasoline on the fire, and it makes this hook a lot more effective for B2B sites. A really good representation of this is having bar charts or clear callouts of your competitors and differentiators in terms of price, value added, or results achieved. If you can highlight this using some sort of clear pricing graphic or have a differentiated color based on the result relative to the others to create a clear contrast, that works very well. And the reason that this hook works is because buyers don't want theories, they want proof. On to the next hook, and this one is what we call the educator. This hook positions you as the guide. It teaches something valuable upfront, and it minimizes the time to value from when people land on your site to learning something new that can help them on their journey. It positions your brand as the expert by simplifying a complex problem that maybe even the viewer couldn't rationalize themselves. Now, there is a right and a wrong way to do this, so you have to be careful. The educator hook still focuses on the viewer. You don't want to be talking about yourself. The sole intent of this hook is to gain trust and authority. You want to simplify the problem up front to show the viewer that you know what you're talking about, to establish that trust. You want to create an impression and experience where they say, yes, this person knows me, they know my problem, they've spent time talking to other people like me. This is manifested really well through encouraging simplified copy and social proof, especially in the form of high status reviews with headshots, stars, and very brief callouts of the most dense praising copy from these testimonials. The reason that Educator is so effective when done right is because people remember someone who taught them something. You want to build goodwill and cash in on that trust later. If your site can teach and educate first, trust will immediately follow. And trust is what leads to conversions. The next hook we're going to talk about is called the Showman. This one is out there. The Showman hook grabs attention, and it does so in a visual and emotional way. It surprises, delights, and even disrupts with layout, interaction, animation, etc. This is probably one of my favorites. You can get very creative with this, but it is also one we see done wrong the most often. Now, the idea of the Showman is to create a pause, to stop scroll. And to be honest with you guys, so many sites that we see follow such a repeatable format and aren't leaning enough on the side of differentiation to actually be effective. You can manifest this 100% through branding and creative elements. And you have to be careful because there's a fine line of overwhelming with this stuff and focusing too much on yourself and not addressing the user's problems, which is the main point of the site. A couple really good examples of how we see this manifested are simple and non-overwhelming animations and interactions. This can be card layouts, something that adds a really nice small touch but doesn't overwhelm or hijack scroll. Bad examples of this are loading animations and anything that affects loading time or page performance. That serves as a detriment and doesn't add to the value of this hook at all. The last hook you and I are going to talk about is called the Analyst. And there's a reason I left this one for last. This hook reveals something that your audience did not know before, but they should. It's where curiosity meets insight. And when it comes to social media videos, if you ever heard of something called the curiosity gap, this is very similar. It's manifested almost purely in the headline and succinct, brief, punchy copy. The goal is to identify their problems in a way that they hadn't framed them previously and add a perspective to it that reframes that emotion. It's going to open the dialogue for the rest of your messaging. But again, you have got to be careful. The key is to not bait or catfish your website traffic. Some of the best examples we see of this on the sites that we've studied are ones that allude to the problem in the headline and address it directly below that in the sub, or even with another asset above the fold that alludes to the problem. Here's a really good example of this. The biggest cost on your balance sheet might not be your payroll. It could be in the internal systems behind them. You identify the problem, you expand on the solution and how it applies to that audience, but you do so in a non-abrasive way. A really good asset that could go with this is a UI element sharing some kind of lost balance with maybe the color red to indicate a negative balance on that count. This would create an emotional tie-in that would resonate one-to-one with the copy and the curiosity that the headline creates. And the reason this works is because curiosity creates momentum. When your site reveals something unexpected, you've earned a scroll. Buyers want to hear more, and that's where you can expand on the rest of your message and how it applies to them. So to wrap this up, every homepage needs a hook, but not every hook needs to be flashy. All of these hooks, the challenger, the visionary, the tester, the educator, the showman, and the analyst, they all solve the same problem. And they can be applied to any industry and any message. But here's what they all do well. They create contrast between your buyer's current state and their future state. And it puts you as the middleman to helping them get there. Again, my name is Andy, founder of MMG Design in Columbus, Ohio, B2B web design and content strategy. If you got value out of this video, please leave a like and subscribe. We're uploading every week. If you liked this video, you're definitely going to want to watch this one where we broke down 10 studies of the highest converting websites and how they can apply to yours. These are backed by data and it's super rich and it took us over 6 hours to produce. You're definitely going to want to check that out. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.